Best of r/Tales from Tech Support episode 22. Just had a customer who had done a software update, and when asked what options he could choose from our network, other UK network, enter settings manually, and he chose other network, and then called us to say why he had done and that this had caused his internet not to work. No shit, Sherlock, you selected the wrong network settings. No, you haven't. Then called us to explain that you had. He then got upset when I kindly told him he can either factory reset his phone so the phone asks him that question again, or he can plug it into iTunes and do a carrier network setting check to update it again with our settings. He told me he is unwilling to do either of those as he's done enough, and then told me until we fix his mistake he's going to sue us, and just started to say you'll hear from my lawyer over and over again. If a customer says the word lawyer more than 3 times, the call recording automatically goes to our legal team, who have to review the call and send him correspondence. He then got annoyed when I gave him the address to give to a lawyer to send any correspondence. Said he would receive correspondence from us and said we can't take it any further or speak to him about this matter until the lawyers have sorted it out if he's going to sue us. He's just made it 100% worse for himself now, as he will get a letter from our legal team after the listen to the call advising no laws were broken and he caused the issue himself, and we will be unable to help him any further on the matter as the pop-up is not controlled by us. It's an Apple feature to make sure you get the right carrier settings. He'll have to wait 3-5 business days for this, and until he had received that letter we will be unable to do anything over the phone except read him a script. I'm sorry, an issue on your account is currently with our legal team and you will get correspondence from them within 5 working days. We cannot discuss this account until you have received the correspondence, and then we can either end the call on him after reading him that, or give general advice around our network's products but not access his account. Sorry for format. I'm on mobile. TL. Doctor. Customer gets annoyed because networks have different internet settings. Threatens to sue us and ends up locking his account down for 3-5 business days. Thank you. Next. Part 1. While I'm working for the Earl Scheibov consulting firms, we'll do anything for $200/HR. I'm assessing the cybersecurity risks of the hundreds of vendors that touch my client's big pile of healthcare data. I spouted off and now I have to pick 5 vendors and vote them off the island. Of course, this is going to be more complicated than I thought. I can't use this as an opportunity to punish vendors who have annoyed me. Instead, I need to select a few truly bad actors. I contact the other consultants at my firm who have worked on this project and asked for their reports. I'm going to put all this in a master spreadsheet and find the 5 worst. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. I'm grinding through everyone else's reports when I get a meeting request for tomorrow afternoon from a handful of people I don't recognize. It's my boss and a few unknowns from $Big Health, my health insurer client. Oh, shit. I'm going to get some vague guidance from the client that will make this harder. Great. I'd like to prevent this. I have to make my list of 5 before the call so I can seem like I'm competent enough to handle this task on my own. I don't want to seem biased against the vendors that I've reviewed, so I go through the reports from other consultants. I'm not just looking for occasional bad practice, I'm looking for repeated ass pucker. I find a few, including a healthcare outcome metrics firm that queries patients on their surgeries. They know all about chemotherapy side effects, but not encryption. When pressed, their answer was we don't need to do that. A pharmacy qualifying vendor, they go through prescriptions and bills to determine what is and what isn't covered after the fact. Their reviewers are contractors using personal laptops. They've lost 3 laptops, which might hold sensitive data, and they hid that from us for a year. An insurance broker who has 2 sales employees with felony convictions for Medicare fraud, which exposes our client to some kind of liability I haven't looked up yet. A company that does big data things with healthcare data to improve outcomes but doesn't think security matters. I think I'm going to have a conversation with the responsible consultant that may end in yelling, since that's all the detail I get in the report. A vendor who wouldn't fill out our questionnaire, answer any questions or allow the consultant to enter their property, yet re-signs contracts year over year. I also have a few vendors who I'd like to fire for no reasons better than you were complete schmucks and tried to lie to me. However, I must be a fair executioner. I have to make sure the service they provide for $big health isn't unique, so they can just name a competitor before they cut the incompetent vendor. I put together a compact deck, 1 slide for the review process and 2 slides per problem vendor: who they are, what they do for $big health, what they're doing wrong, and how we could replace their service with existing or new vendors. The next day rolls around and I've got my slides ready to go for the $big health alignment call. I email them to She for comment because he's something of a micromanager. Radio silence. I occasionally send myself an email to make sure everything's working. I spend my time writing other deliverables, laundry and writing stories here. My phone starts ringing. Me. Hello? She. Where are you? Me. In the physical plane, metaphysically or career-wise. She. The call. Me. With $big health? That's not for another hour. She. With me to prepare for that call. Me. I didn't know about your call. She. The meeting is in my drafts folder. I didn't send it. Me. I see. I wish to apologize for not attending a meeting I wasn't invited to. She. No reason to be sarcastic about this. You should have known I wanted to talk to you about this. Me. I'm sorry. Next time I'll be proactive about this and reach out when you want to talk to me. She. That's better. She sends me the meeting link and I click on it immediately. She and a more senior member, who I can only call Mr. Bland of the healthcare team, are on the call already. She. I finally rousted Law Techie. Now we can talk about $big health. We have a 25-minute call that seems to repeat the following. $big health is an important client to our consulting firm. Our contract with $big health is up for renewal and things are sensitive right now, but Bland's turning it around. I should consider the bigger picture, which can't be revealed to me because of the first 2 points. We don't actually discuss which firms we're going to cut or our methodology. We all say great meeting and end the call. The big call with $big health people, including client director, goes smoothly. Mr. Bland talks about the 20,000-foot view and provide air cover, and I wonder if I should be climbing into a Lancaster soon. I present my methodology and reasons for cutting firms that present risk but can be replaced. I'll be informed when I'm to tell the firms they are cancelled and any other details. Then the call ends. I start to think about other things when my phone rings. Client director, I'm approving 3 of the 5 to be terminated right now. Contact them, make sure they return or delete our data and tell me when it's done. Me. That was quick. I was expecting it to be more complex. Client director, why? Me. I always assume there's a bigger picture. Client director, you're talking like Bland. Don't. He's an idiot. To be continued. Thank you. Next. So this one was a bit more of a recent interaction between the IT security team I work with and the ISO. $ISO walks in. Guy, I would just like to congratulate you all for doing such a great job. All the other regional ISOs are talking about how quick and proactive you guys handled those 2 major threats to our systems. Team entertains $ISO for a few minutes. $Tech1, Wheelsa, thanks for the praise but we need to get back to work real quick. $ISO leaves. $Tech1, $Hackery, do you know what he was talking about? $Me, nope. $Tech2, $Tech2, nope. But I'm gonna go through the incident tickets for the past week to see if I can find out. This was 2 days ago. We still don't know what $ISO was talking about. Thank you. Next. I got a call at about roughly 2 p.m. one day. Seems like a pretty standard call. The person starts off by saying that she has an Exchange account. As technical support we can't deal with this, and how she is having all sorts of troubles getting her email up. No problem. Mom, can I have you go to google.com and search remote interface computer? What's Google? Apostrophe. Okay. This is the first time I have had to deal with a customer who does not understand the concept of internet, but regardless it's my job to be patient, and I get paid by the hour. Doesn't matter. After explaining how to do this, explaining what a web browser is and having her open up Microsoft Edge, her nickname for it was the bluey with the yellow stripe. Presumably someone changed the icon to the Internet Explorer icon, taking me about 20 minutes just to get to step 1 of the process. She downloads the remote application and we continue from there. whom begins telling me her life story. Upon the third step, another 20 minutes pass. Finally I am able to get her to download the program and we go from there. I see the problem immediately. She is complaining about how our partnered company worked on their computer and they were not able to fix it, but managed to get one step to fixing it. The issue was that the certificate was not being recognized or accepted, so naturally I just did the fix. Check automatically allow. Then next, the woman proceeds to flip out and start screaming at me, because the solution was naturally the certificate cannot be allowed, otherwise she can't get the email to open up. This was the first and only call I told the customer if they don't stop yelling at me I would hang up. They didn't listen, because the customer knew what the issue was, but had to be taught how to open up google.com. Shows how wonderfully technologically literate she is. After 10 minutes I told the customer, okay ma'am, when you get her A+ and networking degree feel free to give us a call back. Click. About an hour later she calls back and we are able to help her again. Unknowingly to her, the agent I was training was talking to her and I fixed the issue. Set up as Exchange when it is an IMAP server. Thank you. Next. I was told this deserves its own posting instead of being a comment. Mods please delete if this is a bad idea. About 25 years ago I was a junior PC tech at a company and one of the sales guys needed a new monitor for his PC. No big deal. I unpack a new one and install it. About an hour later another salesperson calls me and says he wants a new monitor too. I walk over to his desk and checks his current monitor and it's nothing wrong with it. I talk to him and explain that I cannot replace it because it's nothing wrong with it. Now, I like this guy. He's a star salesman and also a very nice guy. Rare combination, I know. So I tell him that if the monitor were to break, for any reason, wink wink, I will replace it. He nods, says he understands, and I walk back to my desk, waiting to hear that the sales guy accidentally knocking his monitor over and down on the floor. 20 minutes later the sales manager walks in my office and is angry and starts yelling about me not supporting his boys. I explain the policy and asks him to take it to management if he has a problem with it, and if there is a change in policy I would happily replace a monitor for the sales guy. Sales manager walks away and says he will take it to the CEO. 1 hour later the CEO, the sales manager and the sales guy walks into my office and want to straighten things out. I'm 21 or 22 at the time and it's my first job, so I'm way out of my league here, but I stand my ground and point to the policy and ask the CEO to grant an exception if he want to go against his own rules, but also explain that if we change the policy or break it we have a staff of 250 people who all would like new monitors for their PCs. CEO chews on that for a minute and turns to the sales guy and asks, why do you want a new monitor? Is there anything wrong with the monitor he already have? Sales guy says, no. CEO looks confused and asks, what then? Sales guy looks a bit ashamed, like a small kid who just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and says, well, the other guy got a new one. CEO looks midly amused and annoyed at the same time, not sure how they swung that, but it was a featuring to watch for sure, and just says to the sales guy, grow up kid. You get a new monitor when IT says you are getting one. He then turns to the sales manager and says, my office, now. I later got an email from HR asking if I want my one-time bonus as paid leave or in cash, adding a note from the CEO where he thanked me for doing a great job. This was not common at this company where the CEO was feared, to say the least. Thank you. Next. This was when I was a very new engineer, just finished training, no real field experience. New installation of a huge server and its 5 kVA UPS. All I had to do was check the wiring and turn it on. I checked the manual the previous night so I was sure of all the technical details. I look at the setup and say to the customer I'm not 100% sure that they have specified the right UPS. This is a variant B and I think we need variant A. Customer, have you ever worked on one of these before? No. Let me phone in and check. Customer, we haven't got time for this. I trust the sales guy. I'm sure it's fine. I'm gonna turn it on. You don't know what you're doing. Me, I wouldn't do that. Kaboom. This thing weighed several 100 pounds and I swear it moved. Me, with ears still ringing. You'd better talk to the sales guy and let us know when he sorted it. I can't remember what the customer said, but he didn't have as big a smile as me. Thank you. Next. So I'm not actual IT, just a PC gamer and engineer who enjoys some of the stories. Keep in mind for this story that I've never actually owned a TV. I do everything on my computer. Last night I'm at an event at a community center, and we're supposed to watch a DVD, but the person running the event can't get it to work. I notice that the person is fiddling with the remotes and the devices, but hasn't glanced at the cables. I mention this, and the person immediately says that is too complicated and I should do it because I sound like I know what I'm doing. So I go up and take a look. The TV input is set to HDMI and the device they're trying to use is a combo VHS/DVD player. I look behind it. Power is plugged in. The player has component cables coming off of it that are black, and the component cables plugged into the TV are gray. Looks like some gaming console is plugged into the only component input instead. I also notice an HDMI cable running from the TV to the Blu-ray player, which isn't working. I look at the Blu-ray player, and notice the power cord is running under a box fan. I look behind the box fan and the power cord isn't plugged in. So I plug in the Blu-ray player and away we go. When I read all the posts talking about users refusing to do even the simplest troubleshooting because they aren't computer people, I thought you guys were exaggerating. But no, I guess people really do refuse to do the simplest tasks because they think it's more complicated than it really is. I mean, how hard is it to follow the path of a cable? You can even do it by hand if the cable management is too poor to do it by sight.